I don't want him to kill him. At the same time, I also don't want Souji to die. So I feel like saying don't die supports him. Supports him kind of like casually about, it's like, hey, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. Just don't die, take care of yourself. Let's see how this goes. Please, don't die. My voice broke and Okita looked back at me, his head tilted slightly to one side. It's nice to have someone worried about me, but do you really think I'm gonna get killed? No. Okita was an incredible swordsman. There were very few people who could even hope to beat him. Even so, there's hardly a guarantee that he wouldn't die. You worry too much. I fell silent and he gave me a crooked smile. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I can tell you, I won't lose to Hijikata. Whatever the result of the confrontation, he wouldn't die. All I could do was nod. That's not the answer I was looking for. I was kind of hoping for like a sarcastic don't die. Suddenly, Okita groaned, his face twisted in pain. I obviously made a poor choice there. That one I could even tell from here, just like, not the best choice. White flooded his hair and through agony, and though agony had squeezed his eyes to slits, I could see that they were red. Isn't that gonna happen to me soon too? Okita, maybe it won't because I've got demon blood. As that bloodlust, from the look of him, it was more painful than before. We always give him blood. Give him blood. Let's do it. Trade them fluids. Pretty romantic since we can heal it pretty easily. It's actually pretty romantic in general. I drew my Kodachi, drew it across my skin in one motion. There you go, dude. Held up my hand. He didn't even hesitate. As he lapped up the blood, I heard him mumble, "Thanks." Okita. Whatever doubts I'd had were swept away. I offered him my blood and he'd accepted it. It was a simple thing, but it warmed my heart just the same. I like when he does that. In time, the bloodlust passed, but it did so only to give way to yet another problem. Okita's breathing had just begun to steady when we heard the sound of artillery fire. Damn it. Utsunomiya Castle had come under attack from the Imperial Army. The Shinsengumi and their allies were resisting as best they could, but they were at a disadvantage. I'm almost tempted to go back and change that choice, just because, like, I obviously made a choice that's... The other choice obviously would have made him happier and done the little flower blossom thing, but... yeah. Alright, whatever. They're surrounded. I don't think we'll be able to push our way through. Our vantage point afforded us an excellent view of the battle. Oh, it just looks fabulous down there, and things did not look good. Oh, it doesn't look fabulous. Nothing fabulous about this. It's actually terrible. Hijikata's going to order the retreat eventually. We should try and predict where they'll go and then get there first. Good idea. Suddenly, the world began to spin around me. My head throbbed and I felt as if I were about to vomit. Oh no! Here we go! Just every single time, everything is just happening all at once right now. My body began to shake. Okita caught my arm just in time to prevent me from collapsing to the ground. He didn't have to say it. I shook my head fiercely. No, I don't feel like I want blood. My demonic body was resisting the effects of the water of life. Spasm of pain shot through me. I'm fine. I did my best to stand up straight and forced a weak smile onto my face for him. This was nothing. I can walk. Okita frowned. He looked as if he was about to say something when a ragged cough shook his body. Damn it, there's the tuberculosis. There we go. I was waiting for that one. Okita. Tuberculosis. As healthy as he seemed, still there, still eating away at his lungs. Maybe we should, call it a day? I don't know. I had meant to suggest we rest, but Okita interrupted me with a dismissive wave of his hand. If you're alright, then we should get moving. His voice was calm. This is our best chance to catch up with Hijikata. I'm not losing him again. Hey, he's right. Okay, let's go. I still wasn't sure if letting him meet with Hijikata was the best idea, but if he'd made up his mind, there was little I could do. Let me know if you start feeling bad, alright? He gave me a quick smile, then took my hand and began to walk. Aww! He's gonna take my hand. We leaned against one another for support as we went, which brought his face closer to mine. As we moved, we talked, but after a while our conversation ran out of steam, so we just started kissing. We just kissed the whole way there. Took a deep breath and spoke. If you do find Hijikata... I paused. Was it really right of me to ask? Nonetheless, I pushed on. What will you do? Have you decided yet? I didn't want to come across as a nag, but... And I was prepared for him to get irritated, but he did nothing of the sort. I'm the son of a samurai, you know. My family wasn't real well off, though. I wasn't sure what rhyming had to do with Hijikata, but Okita wasn't usually one to talk about his life, and I wanted to know everything about him that I could learn. My parents died when I was really young, and Shiei Hall was nice enough to take me in as an apprentice. Oh, Shiei. Shiei Hall. I'd heard the name before, a few times, from some of the other Shinsengumi. That's Kondou's dojo, isn't it? He grinned and nodded, then went on to explain how most of the captains had met at that dojo. Between cleaning and doing his other chores, Okita had been trained in swordplay. Kondou really looked out for me. He was always happy to spar or just screw around. I guess you could say he was kind of like an older brother. Okita's admiration for Kondou was plain to hear as he spoke about the man. He looked off toward the horizon and twisted his mouth into a rueful grin. Anyway, the other guy Kondou was closest to was this real asshole. Selfish, arrogant, grumpy. Okita? For the first time, I began to understand just what was going on, what he was going through. He'd grown up with Kondou, but he'd grown up with Hijikata as well. Whatever harsh words he had for the commander, they weren't spoken out of malice. I didn't realize you two had a past together as well. I mean, I think I understand. Hijikata was important to Okita too, albeit perhaps not quite so much as Kondou. Let's go find Hijikata. If we don't hurry up, he's gonna disappear again. Okita blinked. I thought you wanted to stop me. Well, until now I did, but now you're all like, we have a long history together, and I probably won't kill him, but we might fight, and that's not a big deal. It's hard to explain. I don't know. It's because of who you are. Because he cared so much for Kondou. Because he could treasure the time he'd spent with him. Because he could talk about those times with such a peaceful look on his face. I believe in you. He stared at me for a moment, stunned. Oh. Then suddenly his arms were around me. Sorry. His voice was a whisper in my ear. I just really felt like I had to hold you. His arms enfolded my body in their tender, gentle embrace. I could feel his heart beating beneath his chest, and when he spoke, his voice trembled just the slightest bit. This feeling, it feels like my heart's about to break, but I am happy. He sounded bewildered, almost a little scared. Okita was so dear to me, what could I say to him? Okita! I felt right in his arms, at home. Part of me worried that he would hear my heart racing or notice that my face was flushed a brilliant shade of red, but another part of me just didn't care. You're such a mysterious girl. I felt his arms squeeze tighter. Maybe I'm a little embarrassed, you know, you're the only person I've ever told you about this. I'm happy. Happy that he was holding me, that he treated me so kindly, that he'd opened up to me like he had. At last, his arms pulled away and he smiled down at me softly. Well, to answer your question, I think I just want to know how Hijikata feels. He's just looking for closure about all the things that have happened lately. And he hugged me. That makes me happy. We found him with the rest of the Nationalist army as they retreated down a nearby path through the mountains. Hijikata's eyes went wide when he saw us. Oh hey, look who's looking great on his side too. It's Hijikata and he looks awesome. You came all the way to Utsunomiya? Both of you? He gestured quickly to his troops that they should continue ahead and stepped off the path to come face to face with Okita. I need you to tell me the truth, Hijikata. What happened to Kondou? At the mention of Kondou's name, Hijikata's face stiffened, and his eyes grew cold and hard. Kondou surrendered to the Imperial Army. They put him in prison, and they chopped his head off. Oh! My hands flew to my mouth. I'd known that saving Kondou was difficult, if not outright impossible, but... He's gone. He's really gone. And what the fuck were you doing? Okita's fist held a handful of Hijikata's collar, and he snarled at the commander like a furious animal. You were there with him! How could you let him surrender? It was the question he'd been mulling over in his mind all the way from Ito, and now finally he would have his answer. Why didn't you save him? God damn it, Hijikata, you could have saved him! I know you could have! I couldn't. Hijikata's voice was close to breaking and the ice had gone from his eyes. I wanted to save him, I tried. You think I wanted to let him do that? Maybe not, but now he's dead. His voice was a little more than a murmur. Souji. Okita's limp hands fell from Hijikata's collar to dangle at his sides. There was a moment of silence, and Okita's fist slammed itself into Hijikata's jaw with a resounding crack that threw the other man to the ground. I'm gonna let you off with that, but don't be thinking I forgive you. Hijikata climbed slowly to his feet, glaring at Okita. Maybe I've changed. I think I understand some things now that I didn't before. He didn't seem to be speaking to the commander anymore. Hijikata looked at him with sudden confusion. After a moment, Hijikata sighed. Kondou chose to die, so that the rest of us could get away. The chief's plan had been to pose as someone else. Hijikata told us to not tell the Imperial Army that he was Isami Kondou, or the chief of the Shinsengumi. He'd overruled Hijikata's objections with a laugh, and then marched straight into enemies' hands so that the rest of the Shinsengumi might live. People in Kyoto knew him, though. There was no way he could have gotten away with it. I'm sure he knew that. Hijikata had done everything he could to get the Imperial Court to spare Kondou's life, but in the end he wasn't able to stop the execution. That's about what I figured. It is just like him to pull a stunt like that. He gave a small, sad smile. Still, I didn't want him to die. Okita. But I didn't need to say anything, he already understood. There were some things that Hijikata couldn't do. The commander had wanted Kondou to live just as much as Okita did. So what are you gonna do now? Hijikata gave a short laugh. Kondou dropped the Shinsengumi in my lap. Not running away now. I'll head north with them. What about you two? You can come if you want. I had a feeling Okita had already made his decision before Hijikata even asked. He looked the other man squarely in the eye and spoke in a quiet, measured voice. I can't go with you, Hijikata. I see. He looked slightly relieved, but also almost sad. I felt bad interrupting, but it seemed Okita had forgotten, and I had to say something. We ran into Yamazaki. Hijikata raised an eyebrow in my direction, and I explained how Yamazaki had been shot helping us escape. He was determined to join up with Hijikata again as soon as possible. The commander nodded, but said nothing more in regard to Yamazaki. As he made to leave, however, he fixed me with a strange look I'd never seen before. Take care of Souji. Yes, sir. Yes, thank you. He smiled and turned his back to us and he was gone. Oh. Alright, time we were on our way too. We need to find your old man. This might be the last time we see Hijikata. Are you sure? He grinned. Well, Koto's got the key to releasing this curse I'm under, right? I nodded. Besides, I want to help. I'll die before I give up on you. Oh, something about his smile seemed fleeting. It worried me. I want to help you too. Even if I learned how to negate the effects of the water of life, there wouldn't be any point if Okita wasn't with me anymore. I was happy then that he'd be coming with me, but when I looked into his eyes, something I saw there made me fear for our future. Oh, that's not ominous. Good gracious. That leads us to chapter 7. How long has it been? Has it been 2.5 years? Is that where we're at? I feel like we started in 68. Recap me, baby. That was a short chapter. Someone is calling my name. There's a field spread out before me, covered in tiny, beautiful flowers. I live in a small house, hidden away from the rest of the world. All the faces I see are smiling. Life is happy and peaceful. I remember these days fondly. Suddenly, the sky turns red. Someone's calling my name, someone important. A horrible scream lingers in my ears. There's a person in front of me. Who are they? Someone I love leaps between us, their arms held wide. Everything smells like blood. I'm covered in something. It's red and slick. Now someone's holding me. I can hear them panting, and I can hear their heart racing. We're running away from my house. Somewhere inside of me, a tiny voice says, those quiet, happy, peaceful days will never come again. I'm crying now as if my home grows farther and farther away. Damn them. The person carrying me is talking. They sound angry, but are they crying too? All we ever wanted was to live in peace, but I guess the humans couldn't even let us have that. My sobbing mingles with the voice of the person carrying me, two sides of the same miserable coin. Bastards, I hate them, I hate them! The angry thumping heart grows louder and louder. I can feel hatred wrap its searing tendrils around my heart. Was the brother? That was Chizuru? I hate them!